a serious impact on this community's ability to provide services for itself. You can see that our reserves that top the bars going across the screen have grown and shrunk over the course of the past 4 years, and will do the same going into FY93. The reserves that we have there tendency to replenish themselves in somewhat mysterious ways occasionally. But as I said on Monday evening, one of the ways in which we replenish the reserves is by managing money as best we can so that at the end of the year we have accounts that are all zeroed out. That is a previous mentality of what the government is studying. I think government is studying at many levels in this country. 3 years ago when I came here, we set a rule that we weren't going to do that things that needed to get done would be given strong consideration and critical analysis toward the end of the year if there were ways to do that. But at the same time, if they weren't critical to do, then those things would go back for use at another time. We certainly have seen over the past 3 years that diminishing state aid and the general state of the economy has made it crucial for us to be very frugal with the spending so that we can replenish some of these reserves as we go from one year to the next. We've had a couple of events in the last year or two that have actually popped up our reserves. You see that in FY92, the reserves were pretty substantial by comparison to other years. One of the things that contributed to that was the transfer from the stipulated lawsuit settlement right into the selectmen back into the general fund. That then became what's called free cash, which is simply an unrestricted reserve, and it had a tendency to enlarge this amount in our revenue stream. Now, in FY92, something very major happened at the annual town meeting and the fall town meeting of last year. One of the things that has been aired so far in this meeting is a criticism that we don't seem to have a plan. Last year, we did have a plan. We had a very frugal, a very conservative, and a very directed multi-year plan. We came into the annual town meeting with something in the order of about $900,000 in unrestricted reserves, all of it being free cash at the time. We had a plan to spend, I think, a little over $450,000 last year, and that plan was based on a multi-year concept that would have us spending about $500,000 in our reserves annually that would be replenished by real tax bill and property tax bill in the next year, and some of the rejuvenation, return of unused funds to the general fund. We had it very much in balance at about $500,000 a year. Unfortunately, the reserve that we used last year between the April town meeting and the October town meeting totaled $1.2 million. And in that sense, 2.5 years worth of reserves that were set aside for being able to maintain services were consumed. Now, I'm not saying it to criticize the purposes for which those monies were consumed, but I'm saying it to let everybody know that we did fully regretting have a very well thought out and projected plan that just didn't work. It wasn't something that the people during the town meeting were very interested in going along with. So here we are, facing FY93 with what appears to be no plan. We do have a projection at this point in time that if we hold our operating costs stable participating in this sport have to be careful and thoughtful in not only how money gets spent and what it gets spent for, but when it gets spent. As a point of interest, I'd like to point out, so this is standard rule, I think it is, we can identify some of these numbers in the tax recap, the projected tax recap, which is on pages 11. It's appendices A, B, and D in front of the warrant, pages 8, 9, and 11. The property tax that we are relying for to fund the budget that we're looking at for FY93 will be about $874,000 greater than the property tax levy that was issued this year. Which is part of that levy. You can actually add the two numbers together and come up with the overall increase in the tax levy. New growth is $115,000. A certain portion of this property tax levy, which you can see on page 8, I believe it is, has to do with the two override debts that were being put right now. If you look there, you'll see that the high school renovation debt is going to increase by $24,000 next year. The library renovation debt, which is now coming into its full payback schedule, is going to increase by $280,000. So of this amount, a little over $300,000 of it, these increases in just the Proposition 2.5 override debt, that all the taxpayers are going to have to bear next year. State aid overall is down by about $196,000. That number keeps moving on us. Last time we looked at it before we prepared this slide, it was $178,000. Last year we were looking at over $300,000. Those numbers are disappointing, but at the same time they're sort of saying to us that we need to recognize that our future is our own to fund, to plan, and to determine. It's not going to be the states, it's not going to be the federal governments. When receipts are up, when we project to be up by about $21,000, that's one of the areas where we try to be conservative so that we don't overestimate our receipts. If we happen to underestimate our receipts, then we put ourselves in a deficit situation at the end of the year, and that amount of money that we've underestimated by has to be paid off by next year's tax levy. So we have a tendency to overestimate our receipts. The other projects that are shown here represent the reserves that will be consumed in order to fund the budget that's being presented to you. Those funds are $500 million less than what was spent last year. And finally, with the enterprises, the Hillview Country Club and the water system, those revenues are anticipated to be increased for consumption and funding the overall budget by $236